Our mission is to see created a sacred space of renewal in our city. A sacred space gathered around, if you like, an ancient and very deep well, where deep can meet deep. This is our mission. This is our awesome call. This is what we're about. It's our purpose. A purpose is an ancient purpose, is one that's been in Ireland since the 4th century, and it's one that needs to be renewed in the 21st century. And that's our mission, to bring about a sacred space around a deep, ancient well where the presence of God will be manifest. It involves a number of aspects, but two in particular, and that is the presence of God, and that's preeminent, that must happen. Without it, it's of little importance what we're doing, but the presence of God and His glory will be manifest. And the second aspect is that there would be a donkey work done to bring this mission about. We all recognise, I think, that the work of the glory of God, His very presence coming into our city, is sovereign. It is something that God does. But what we don't realise, that God's glory requires a donkey. It requires donkey work. It requires a donkey to carry the glory of God into the city. And that's what I want to explore. It's an extraordinary thought to think of God coming into our city in His glory. We remember the story of Jesus, don't we? We all remember from our school days, if not again more recently when we read it now. But we do remember it all the way back because it's a simple story. It's Jesus' entry into Jerusalem just before His crucifixion. So Jesus is coming into the city in all His glory, and to such an extent that everyone's really excited about it and shouting about it. They were shouting out loud. They were throwing their coats in front of Jesus. They were just treating Him royally coming in. To such an extent and to such an uproar that the establishment churches of the time, the scribes and the Pharisees, came to Jesus and say to Him, "Can you dial this down? Can you please get these people to stop shouting, making such an uproar, because it's embarrassing or whatever." But it was the idea that they couldn't help themselves. They were almost out of control, the people, in praising God in His glory, returning to Jerusalem. And Jesus said to them, "If I stop them, even the stones will cry out, Hosanna." The stones, the very nature itself, will start to worship me. This wasn't just hyperbole. This was recognition by Jesus of what was going on, and He was trying to explain it to the scribes and the Pharisees. That at the very coming glory of God, nature would cry out. That this was Jesus, as it were, uncloaking Himself, showing Himself not just as the Lamb that goes into the city in its glory, but the royal King, Lion coming in. A glorious God, a God that John gave us an insight, a glimpse of, where Jesus had the voice of thunder, had a sword coming out of His mouth, like fire in His eyes. His hands were full of stars. It was glory, it was magnificent, it was just awesome presence of God. And in response to that, the people were crying out, Hosanna. They were treating Jesus' entry as a royal coming into their city, the manifest glory of God. And Jesus knew, because of that, that even if He got them to stop, even the stones would cry out. But here's the most extraordinary thing. The most extraordinary thing was Jesus knowing about His entry, preparing for this entry, for the glory of God, the very presence of God coming into the midst of our city, to create a sacred space around an ancient well that goes back to very creation itself. To do this, Jesus had a need. The glorious God, the God who had a sword coming out of His mouth, as it were, whose voice was the sound of thunder, needed something, had a deep want in him, and that want was for a donkey. Isn't it extraordinary to think that God, in his awesome glory, needed something, but that he also needed a donkey? He actually needs donkey work. And the question arises, doesn't it, at the very heart of us, if God is sovereign, if God is all powerful, he could arrive into that city, Jerusalem, 2,000 years ago, and he could arrive in the most special of ways because the manifest glory of God was there. But what he needed was a donkey. He needed his disciples to go and get this donkey, bring it to him, and he got up on it and he came into the city. He had a need for that. And if that donkey wasn't there, and if his disciples didn't go and get it and bring it to him, and he could climb up on it and come into the city, then it wasn't going to work. But why is this? There's something at the very heart of God that wants to share, that wants to love. He wants us to be members of his royal family. He wants us to be part of bringing the glory of God into the city. This was not just 2,000 years ago, because you'll remember in getting the donkey there was a colt, there was a young donkey, there was another generation, and both of them were brought to Jesus. Jesus gets up on one donkey, but there's another one. There's one left that he's not on. It's one for this generation. It's the same methodology for today. The awesome glory of God, we can pray for it, and it won't happen unless we hear Jesus saying to us, go and get me a donkey for this generation. Go and get me the colt that I may ride upon it into the city. Hence, this is what we're about. Bring you back to the start again. Our mission is to see created a sacred space of renewal in our city. A place that's going to be occupied by the presence, awesome presence of God. It's going to be around a sacred well that is Jesus himself, where deep can meet deep. What it means is this, is that the authentic who we are, this authentic part of our being, the very depths, what's at the core of us, meets with Jesus. It is in that authentic, deep way where we choose the presence of God first that we will see the manifest presence of God in our lives and in our city. That is our mission. That's what we are called to see happen anew in the 21st century in each and every one of our cities. Most particularly my city in this moment. This is what our mission is.